and you're comfortably sitting next to your brother's body while he's in a coma, telling him all your plans to steal his girl. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things movies, TV shows, and Hollywood. Okay, so today I want to get into two rom-coms that are pretty similar in the type of BS that they were on. So the two are While You Were Sleeping from 1995 and then The Other Zoey from I think 2023 might have been. And I just wanted to get into them because to some extent a lot of people say that The Other Zoey is kind of like inspired by While We Were Sleeping. They have similar-ish concepts, right? So let's get into it, starting with While You Were Sleeping. This film, I watched it a few weeks ago and I just didn't understand where the romance was. And I'm finding this a lot with the rom-coms I watch nowadays. And I'm asking myself, where is the romance? You've got the com, I'm not seeing the rom as much. But yeah, so this story, short recap, Lucy. Lucy has a long time crush on Peter. She's admired him from a distance. He don't really know her for real. And Peter gets into mugging, basically, and he's almost killed by a train. Lucy saves his life, and then Peter lands in a coma. His family comes by. Now, due to some misunderstandings, now people think that Lucy is Peter's fiance, and she just has to go along with it because Peter's grandmother has a heart condition. And high key, at this point, she's already taken her grandson being in a coma. So finding out this whole mess, like no fiance, it might just cause a complete heart failure. So she's like, I'm going to protect the grandma. High key, she started off with good intentions, right? The intentions will get a little bit more selfish as we go on. But in the beginning, it was good intentions. Try to protect the grandma. I hear it. But then this is where I was like, this doesn't make all the way sense because I get it, you didn't want to hurt the grandmother, but I would have just pulled the family aside and left the grandmother out, left her knitting or something, or like in her own space, pulled the family aside and said, hey, this is a confusion, this is a massive misunderstanding. I'm not this guy's fiance. I want to be, but I'm not. I would love to be, but I'm not, is what it's giving, right? Because later in the film we find out that he had a girlfriend. We will get to that. He had a girlfriend slash fiance, basically girlfriend, who said no to his proposal. And she didn't know that because she don't know him for real. Remember, he's basically a fantasy, high key. And so enter Jack. Jack is such a diabolical sibling. I'm not gonna lie. The level of inferiority complex that Jack had towards his brother Peter, like he was literally like, I've never wanted what Peter had except now, despite the fact that he's had a better life. And basically talking about Peter, like the better son, the better what. And he's just, basically standing there like bread. But, so he has this whole jealous sibling thing going for him. That's pathetic. That's loser behavior. And from that moment, I knew I wasn't going to be rooting for him because you just want, like, literally when he said, oh yeah, Peter, I want your fiance, I was like, what? Because at this point, he doesn't know that Lucy is not Peter's fiance. So you, Jack, are working under the assumption that this is Peter's fiance, and you're comfortably sitting next to your brother's body while he's in a coma, telling him all your plans to steal his girl. And this is when I knew I wasn't gonna like Jack. I knew I was done with his character because ew. I really don't like the brother at all. And it's like, yeah, not ill. And by the end of it, I don't like Peter either because, by the way, this girlfriend of Peter's, we're gonna find out this girlfriend of Peter's is a married woman. And I'm just like, I can't stand when rom-coms do this to me and they make me stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's like I don't like either of the love interests. I don't like either of the love interests because you're literally presenting me with two crap options And I'm basically supposed to choose between the lesser of two idiots, the lesser of two dumbass men. Like that was crazy, anyways. And so yeah, I was just like, so okay, Jack trying to steal his brother's fiance, as far as he knows. Peter, trying to get engaged to a married woman, crazy. I'm like, who raised these people? Because their family seems like quite good people. So I was like, ooh, you got two brothers that really. Anyways, so Jack, after knowing Lucy for 2 seconds, now comes up at the end of the film to say, will you marry me? What are we talking about? What are we? And Lucy said yes. What are we talking about? Ew. And I think it's because I already didn't like Jack. I was like, that don't make no sense. But either way, like getting married, you've known him for 2 seconds. Ew. High key ill. And also the fact that Lucy like was gonna go through the fact that she got in a whole wedding dress, walked down the aisle. Like, Lucy, you dragged it. High key, you dragged it too far. But like, I understand Lucy's intentions in the beginning. Later, we find out that she actually did this because she's extremely lonely. And I'm like, there was other ways. There was other ways. It wasn't. Was this the only thing that came to mind? You don't have no friends, families that you could bond with. You don't like. Was it by force? Yeah. So like the motives kind of changed, just low key. We shifted focus from the grandmother and protecting her to kind of I'm lonely. I've always been lonely. And it's just like the characters in this movie are extremely unlikable for me because the motives just didn't make any sense. I was like, why would you do this? Like, it's giving very selfish. It's very much giving selfish, scheming, conniving, don't care about nobody else's feelings. And that goes for Jack and Peter and Lucy. But Lucy, she's the least worst for me. She did seem like she had good intentions, which is not the same as the main character from the next movie, the Other Zoey. So the Other Zoey is basically the guy has amnesia. So Zach gets hit by a car, gets amnesia, and then Zoe pretends to be his girlfriend. Because keep in mind, he has an actual girlfriend named Zoe. So there's an actual person named Zoe, and she's basically doing identity theft, high key. And she's basically like, Zach, I'm your girlfriend. Because at first there's a misunderstanding as well, and she goes along with it, not to save nobody's life. This time she goes along with it because it's a scheme that her and her friend set up
for him to come to you with the bullshit.
So basically she was like, I really like Zach's cousin, so I'm going to pretend to be Zach's girlfriend so I can get with the cousin. Ew. 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 At least Lucy had some semi-altruistic intentions with what she was doing. This one, ew. And then the movie kind of paints the cousin as the villain-ish, just a little bit. And I'm like, the cousin basically is okay with the hookup because he's poly. So he's poly in his relationship with his girlfriend. So he was working under the assumption that Zoe was poly as well, because why would she be trying to hook up with him and his cousin at the same damn time? So in his defense, he was poly. So he was like, this not a big deal for me. And then she gets upset with him. I'm like, girl, what did you think? What? You're the one who tried to get with him while pretending to be. Nah, anyways. Zoe just didn't make any sense. And then on top of that, Zoe is mean to Zach for most of the film. He even says it. He's like, there's some point where he's like, this is the first time you've ever been nice to me. And the movie's almost done. I'm like, what did he do? He just has amnesia. As far as he knows, you're supposed to be his sweet and caring girlfriend. So then Zach's girlfriend, at the end of it, when she finds out, she's naturally pissed off because she's like, so this crazy woman tried to steal my identity, high key, is what's going on. And she tried to steal my man as well. That's crazy. That's crazy. So I understand her being upset. And she's also painted like, But I would be upset too. I would have done more. I probably would have cussed her out. High key. Had it been me. And so the whole school is judging her, and I'm like, I hear it. I absolutely hear it. Like, this is crazy behavior. Who does this? Who actually does this? You see, and this is why I'm saying it's completely different from while you were sleeping. And then by the end of it, Zach's family kind of understands, like the mom kind of understands Zoe, and I'm like, there's nothing to understand. You let this woman into your home and she deceived you so she could get with your nephew or whatever's going on over there while pretending to be your son's girlfriend. Okay. I would be like, you are never setting foot in my house again, me personally. And so her mom also says a line that I didn't understand. This one I knew. The writers, you guys are just a little bit twisted in your thought process for romance. Is when the mom said, um, the real Zoe's lame. You are the best Zoe. That's what she's telling her daughter. Basically, the girl you impersonated is lame. You're the best Zoe. What? What? Mom's on BS. Best friend is on BS. Zoe herself is on BS. And nobody in her circle is willing to clock her. Okay, cool. And it's just giving creepy, and the fact that she wins in the end with barely any consequences. And Zach says, you're the Zoe I want to be with. I was like, now granted, him and the real Zoe hadn't been dating for long. Okay, I'll give them that. But still, way longer than whatever weekend he came up to the conclusion that he was interested in fake Zoe. Keep in mind, like, this is the thing. This is all taking place in the span of a few days. I'm not... is what's really taking me out. And when I first watched this movie, when it came out, I was like, it's kind of cute. Like, it's kind of concerning, but it's kind of cute. So in my mind, this was giving peak romance, especially because romance movies are so few and far between these days. I feel like a good rom-com is just not, it's not even a thing much. And at least that time in 2023. Now, even just having a rom-com is rare. But then having a good one, apparently that's asking for too much. And having a good one that makes sense, where I'm actually rooting for the characters instead of rooting for them to go to prison, is also asking too much. Okay. So yeah, it took me too long to clock that this was unhinged. Some things I guess come with age. Some things it took me a while to load, and I think with my adult brain I'm seeing that this was crazy. Yeah, wasn't a fan. But yeah, those two movies have really shown me that you can get away with anything. Apparently, you can be rewarded for bad behavior. At least Zach, I will give Zach this. Zach was likable. I actually liked Zach. He was a fun character. Like, Zach was a good time. Unlike While You Were Sleeping, where I couldn't stand the main characters, any of them. So yeah, I was happy that Zach was nice. His cousin was okay. Like, he was there. I wasn't really all for him being painted as kind of the douche. It never gave douche when compared to Zoe. Like, it's rich coming from you. That's all I can say. It's very, very rich coming from you, especially when he's poly. So he's not even trying to be exclusive on a for real. That's on you. You were trying to do a whole. Anyways, yeah, that's moral of the story is, I guess if you scam a family good enough, you can get the man of your dreams. Identity theft pays off. Okay. 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 And at least, let me just say, with While We Were Sleeping, Lucy was operating under the assumption that Peter was single. She didn't know nothing. Meanwhile, Zoe, you knew he had a girlfriend, and you knew her name was Zoe. What are you doing? Anyways, yeah, so these two films were a mess. But, like, if I had to choose, it's tough. It's tough. Because I feel like While We Were Sleeping, again, just the characters just irritated me. So I can't root for that. Actually, it's not if I had to choose. Both of them can. But if I had to choose the main female character, definitely Lucy made a lot more sense than Zoe. Zoe was selfish and crazy. on a low key. She was just a little bit crazy. And when the school was laughing in her face, I have to hear it. Sorry. But anyways, those are my thoughts. Catch you in the next one where I'll probably be talking about rom-coms again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share. Bye.